Escaping Dunkirk, the sand was black with oil and blood, and the air crackled with the sound of bullets tearing it apart. I remember thinking that the sky looked wrong, too bright, too blue for the horror unfolding below. Men were running in every direction along the beach, some clutching rifles they'd never get to fire. Others stumbling without boots, without helmets, without hope. I didn't know where to run anymore. The Germans were behind us, the sea in front. I'd been with my unit when the order came retreat to the coast. Calais had already fallen, and the enemy was sweeping through like a tide that could not be turned. By the time we reached Dunkirk, my legs felt like they belonged to someone else, and every step left me expecting a bullet in the back. The beach was already thick with soldiers, British, French, Belgian, all waiting, watching the horizon for ships that might never come. It felt less like waiting for rescue, and more like queuing for execution. The air raids came in waves, Stukas screaming out of the sky, their sirens making your bones rattle before the bombs even hit. Every explosion threw sand into my teeth and filled my ears with ringing. I saw a man sitting with his head in his hands, rocking back and forth, his tin cup still in his lap. A moment later, a blast took him and 3 others. There wasn't time to mourn. It wasn't time for anything. We were told to form lines, to move towards the water where small boats might take us to the larger ships anchored further out. It was madness. The tide was low, the beach stretched for what felt like miles, and every step towards the water made us more visible to the aircraft above. I waded in, boots dragging me down, salt water filling my mouth as waves slammed against my chest. Around me, men splashed and struggled, some weighed down by their own kit, others by the bodies of those they were trying to save. A French soldier grabbed my arm, speaking too fast for me to catch. His eyes told me enough terror, desperation, and a plea I couldn't answer. The next second he was gone, pulled under by the weight of his gear. I wanted to dive for him, but the tide was stronger than my courage. Reaching the small boat felt like surviving an eternity. It was nothing more than a fishing vessel, already crammed with soldiers, its hull straining with the load. A Royal Navy sailor was shouting for us to make room, to move aft, to keep low. I hauled myself over the side, my rifle slipping from my back into the water, sinking without a sound. The boat lurched as more men piled in, and I thought for sure we'd tip and drown together. The crossing to the destroyer was a blur spray in my face, shouts from every direction, the thump of distant guns. The destroyer loomed above us like a fortress, and climbing its rope ladder with shaking hands felt like scaling a mountain. Once aboard, I collapsed against the steel deck, gasping, my body still moving as if I were in the water. All around me, men lay in heaps, coughing, sobbing, staring blankly into the haze that hung over Dunkirk. As the ship pulled away, I looked back. The beach was still crawling with figures, tiny against the endless stretch of sand, and the smoke was rising higher now, blotting out the blue of the sky. I knew that for every one of us pulled from that shore, another might never leave it. I didn't feel lucky, not then, just hollow, like something essential had been left behind in the sand with my rifle. And as the coastline faded into the mist, I swore I could still hear the scream of those dive bombers circling like vultures over the place we'd barely escaped.